So I found 7 lazy online jobs that require no degree, no years of experience, and 0 phone calls, which in my opinion is the best part. And a couple of these just might surprise you. So keep watching because I think this list is exactly what you needed today. And do me a favor, if you enjoy this type of content, please hit that like button. That way YouTube will share this with other job seekers out there. So here's what we're going to cover in each job today. First, we're going to talk about what you do. We're going to talk about a walkthrough of what the job actually looks like day to day. Also, we're going to talk about the experience needed, what companies are actually screening for, plus a clear checklist to walk through so you are prepared for each of these positions. Number 3, companies that actually hire for these positions. I'm going to mention a few companies and industries that typically hire for people in these roles. Also, why it's lazy and the specific reason that the repetition in these positions actually works in your favor. And then the bottom line, I'm going to give you an honest opportunity rating. I'm going to show you some general pay based on Glassdoor and one thing to watch out for. Quick disclaimer, everyone, this video is for educational purposes only. Nothing in this video is a guarantee of income or job placement. What you earn, what you don't earn, and whether you get hired or not depends on the company, the role, and you. So please do your research before applying to any of these positions. Now, the first position is AI prompt or data evaluator. In this role, you help AI companies figure out if their chatbots and models are actually any good. So think of it like being a quality control inspector, except the product is an AI's answers instead of an actual physical item. You're reading responses and telling the company where the AI got it right and where it didn't. So here's what you do day to day. You're going to rate AI chatbot responses for accuracy, tone, and safety using a standard rating guide. You're also going to fact check claims the AI made and flag anything false or misleading. You're going to grade short writing samples for grammar, clarity, and quality. Also, you're going to compare 2 AI answers side by side and then pick the stronger one. You'll submit completed batches of tasks through an online dashboard. Most of these programs don't ask for a degree or a resume. However, I would still have a resume prepared and ready to go. What they want is proof you can follow detailed instructions the same way every time and that you actually read carefully instead of just skimming. You'll usually sit through a short paid and in some cases unpaid assessment or training before you are actually approved to do these types of roles. To do this, you need strong reading comprehension, and this is typically graded in the entry assessment. Also, you must be comfortable following a written rating guide exactly. Having attention to detail is a huge plus. Of course, you need basic computer skills because most work happens through a browser dashboard. This is not something you can do from your phone. No degree or certification is required for most of the entry-level programs. You need a quiet space to focus since accuracy is what gets more work. Typically with these roles and what I've seen in my experience here helping people with online jobs is that you cannot do these roles from a coffee shop. So make sure you have an office or an area in your home where you can do these roles. So quick break before we move on. No matter which of these jobs you end up going for, your resume is going to matter. And I created a resume scanner that takes your resume and the job description from the position you're applying for and tells you what your resume is missing before you even apply. And missing keywords is the #1 reason resumes get lost in the ATS black hole. So the scanner will also rewrite your resume with the appropriate keywords and job summary. So it's tailored to each job description. And you can run your first scan for free. There's no CC required, no subscriptions. I'll put a link below in the description and in the pinned comment so you can scan your resume now. And this kind of work typically comes from companies who are building or improving AI products. And I don't think I need to tell you, there are lots out there, new ones starting every day. AI research labs and companies building chatbots or search tools, specialized evaluation platforms like dataannotation.tech, Outlier.ai. Also larger vendors such as Apin and TELUS International who run similar programs. And then tech companies that outsource model testing instead of hiring in-house. So why is this lazy? The title sounds technical, but the actual task is closer to grading homework than doing any kind of actual programming. Also, there's no calls, no meetings, no client back and forth, just you and your screen. You're judging, not creating. The rating guide tells you what to actually look for. And work happens in short task batches, which you can pick up and put down at any time. Also, growing AI demand means new evaluation projects keep opening up. Entry-level evaluations sit on the lower end, whereas specialized evaluators like ones with coding or subject matter experience can get bumped up into more of the higher range of pay. And most of this work is contract work. This is not typical full-time work. So you handle your own taxes and there's no guaranteed number of hours week to week. Since we're a few jobs in now, if you haven't run your first resume scan yet, now is a good time. I'll put a link below in the description and in the pinned comment for you. Content moderator reviews flagged posts, comments, images, and videos against a platform's rulebook. You're not making personal judgment calls, you're applying a specific policy. Your decision comes down to one thing. Does this content stay up, come down, or get escalated? I have hired content moderators over the years to help me in my Facebook groups, my school communities, or other online communities I have. If you've ever been an admin for an online group or a Facebook group, that is essentially what a content moderator does. And day to day, you review flag content against detailed policy guidelines, categorize violations like spam, harassment, or misinformation. Also, remove, approve, or escalate content based on their rules. Log every decision so it can be reviewed or appealed later, and then also keep pace with a queue of flagged items during your shift. So here's the experience needed for this role. Most entry-level moderation roles don't require a specific degree. What matters is whether you can absorb a detailed policy and apply it the same way over and over without your own opinions creeping in. Some platforms, before you apply for this role, are going to give you a written test before you actually go through the application process. So here's your action checklist. A high school diploma is usually enough for entry-level roles, but not always. Ability to follow a detailed written policy consistently. Comfortable working through a high volume of content per shift. Bilingual candidates are frequently prioritized and often paid more. And of course, you need basic computer skills and typing skills. Companies that typically hire platforms with user-generated content typically need this kind of role, and a good amount of it is staffed through outside vendors rather than the platform itself. Social media platforms, video sharing sites, e-commerce marketplaces, reviewing listings and reviews, forums, community apps, and comment sections. Also outsourced staffing firms and BPOs that handle this work for big tech companies. And here's why it's lazy. This is rules-based work. You're checking a box against a policy, not writing an essay about it. The decision tree is already built for you. You're just applying it. No sales targets, no client relationships to manage. And often there's high turnover in these roles, which means more opportunity. And it is typically remote first by design since the content itself is fully digital. Now, I give this role a 6 out of 10. There's steady demand, but the content itself isn't for everyone. And entry-level moderation roles start on the lower end. Now, bilingual moderators and senior reviewers who specialize in a policy area tend to lean towards the higher end of the pay scale. Some roles involve reviewing upsetting or graphic material, so look into what a specific platform actually has you reviewing before you apply for any of these positions. And I'll go ahead and throw up some salary ranges based on Glassdoor. Microtasker. So in this role, you knock out tiny jobs for companies and researchers who need small amounts of human work done fast. And typically with microtasker positions, these are like gig positions. So think of this as like an online gig role. You might pick up one small task here, one small task there, but this is definitely not something that's going to be a full-time position. Think of like short surveys, labeling images, or sorting data. Each of these tasks takes a few minutes to complete, not hours. hours. And typically you pick what's available or you apply for what's available, and then they let you know if you got the tasks, and then you can complete the position. A typical day-to-day might be browsing marketplace of small available tasks, complete short surveys, labeling jobs, or doing just basic data entry. And then you submit each task for review and approval. And you get paid once your work is approved per task. And you can build up an approval rating that unlocks better paying tasks and more tasks opportunities. Generally, no experience is required here. Most of these tasks come with plain instructions and don't call for any special background. The learning curve is mostly about getting comfortable with the platform, not the tasks themselves. No prior experience or degree needed. Basic reading comprehension is needed, of course, to follow task instructions. And you need to be patient since individual tasks pay very small amounts. And then consistency, since your approval rating affects what you can see or access. And companies that typically hire for this role are sites like Amazon Mechanical Turk. Also, academic researchers who run small paid studies look for microtaskers, any company that needs small batches of labeled or sorted data, and then market research firms who are collecting survey responses. The reason it's lazy is, well, you choose exactly which tasks you want to do and when you want to do them. There's no schedule, no shifts, no waiting on you, and the tasks are short enough to do while watching TV. And this is more of a side hustle position. This is definitely not a full-time position. This is a 5 out of 10 because it's a low barrier to entry, but again, this is not a full-time position, and individual tasks pay very little on their own. Workers with a higher approval rating can unlock access to better paying tasks over time. So essentially what this means is in this role is the more tasks that you complete in a good time and accurately, it's going to open up more opportunities to more higher paying tasks. And I'll go ahead and throw up on the screen some of the averages for microtaskers. Next is Search Engine Evaluator. In this role, you grade how accurate and useful search results actually are. You're given a search query and a page of results, then judged against detailed guidelines. Essentially, it's the human quality check behind the actual algorithm. And what you do day to day, you review a search query alongside its results. You're going to rate how relevant and helpful each result is using a rating guide. You'll flag low quality, spammy, or misleading results. Also complete a set number of evaluations per project cycle. Then submit ratings through an online evaluation. And there's no experience needed. No degree is required, but you will need to pass an exam based on the rating guidelines before you are approved to start. The guidelines themselves can run dozens of pages, so strong reading comprehension and internet savvy matter more than any. Here's your action checklist. Make sure you're comfortable reading and applying a long, detailed rating guide. Also, strong general internet and search literacy is important, and the ability to pass a qualifying exam before starting. And no degree or special certification is required. And of course, you must have a reliable internet connection for browser-based evaluation tools. And this work is typically outsourced by search engines and ad platforms to specialized vendor companies. There's companies like TELUS and Appen, which we've talked about before. Also ad platforms checking the relevance of paid placements. And then tech companies who are improving their own internet search tool. And the reason why this is the perfect lazy job is that you're grading, not building. The guidelines do the thinking, you apply them. And you can also do this role from anywhere. It's self-paced with each project window. There's no client interaction, no calls, no meetings, and work happens in short evaluation sessions that you can control. And there's ongoing demand as search results and ads constantly change. I give this a rating of a 7 out of 10. It's flexible and beginner friendly, though hours can fluctuate. And pay is typically part-time and project-based. Rates can shift depending on the specific project and how much evaluation volume is available at the time. Now, something to look out for, project volume can slow down or dry up between contracts. So treat this as flexible income you build around, not guaranteed steady hours. And I'll go ahead and throw up some pay averages from Glassdoor. for. Real quick, if you still haven't scanned your resume yet, make sure you do it now. You can upload your resume and the job description, and the scanner will actually tell you what you're missing and what keywords you need to include in your resume, and it'll actually rewrite your resume for you. I'll put a link below in the description and in the pinned comments. Next is closed captioner or transcriber. In this role, you listen to audio or video, then type out exactly what was said. The output becomes captions, subtitles, and even written transcripts. On paper, it's listen, type, and repeat. You listen to audio and video clips through a transcription platform. You type out spoken words accurately following a style guide. Then you add timestamps or caption formatting where required. Also, you'll review your own work for spelling and grammar errors and submit completed files for approval and payment. And no degree is required for this position, but most platforms have you complete a typing speed and grammar test before approving your account. Specialized transcription like legal or medical pays more, but expects you to know the relevant terminology before going in. Make sure you have fast, accurate typing. This is directly tested before you're even approved. Of course, you need strong grammar and must be comfortable following a specific formatting or style guide, and have a quiet space and a decent headset for accurate listening. And there's no degree required for the general type of transcription work. And companies that typically hire for this, any organization with spoken audio that needs to become text is a potential source of this kind of work. Media companies and streaming platforms are good to look at. Podcasters and video creators who need transcripts. Also market research firms transcribing interviews and focus groups. And you can try companies like Rev, Transcribe Me, and Go Transcript. So why is it lazy? There's no client management here, just audio in and text out. You can work at your own pace, pick up files whenever you want. There's no meetings, no calls, no back and forth. The task never really changes, so you get faster over time. And specialized transcription pays more once you start to build up your speed. Now, I give it a 6 out of 10. There's a low barrier to entry, but the pay can scale with your typing speed. Online mock juror. In this role, you review real legal case materials and then share your honest opinion. Lawyers use your reaction to prepare before an actual trial. You're not researching or writing anything, just reacting. And here's what you do day to day. You're going to read or watch case materials and arguments online, answer a questionnaire about your reaction to each side, share how convincing you found the evidence and arguments, and submit your honest verdict and reasoning. And wait for new cases to become available because they're not constant. And there's no experience or degree required here. Platforms just want a legal adult willing to read case materials carefully and give an honest, thoughtful opinion. And typically there is no test to pass and no application process needed, although that can change and vary depending on where you're located. You must be a legal adult, typically 18 or older. That's the main requirement. And willingness to read or watch case materials carefully, comfortable sharing an honest opinion in writing, no degree, certification, or legal background is required. And patience, since cases aren't posted on a fixed schedule. And this work tends to come from the legal side rather than the tech. So the companies involved look for a little different from the rest of the list. You can try legal research and jury consulting firms, law firms preparing for an upcoming trial. Also, there are online platforms like eJury and Online Verdict, and then litigation support companies who often run mock trials. And the reason why this is lazy is there's no writing, no research, just your honest reaction. And if you're a crime buff, it's also fun. And typically cases can be completed in a single sitting, and there's no ongoing commitment between cases, and zero prior legal knowledge required to participate. I give it a 4 out of 10. It's fun, extra income, but not consistent enough to rely on. And companies pay on a per case rather than hourly, so it's going to vary greatly. And cases come up periodically, not on a set schedule, so this won't replace a full-time income. It works best as an occasional add-on, and it is perfect for students. Customer service chat support. In this role, you answer customer questions through text instead of phone calls. You're troubleshooting orders, accounts, and product questions in writing. And day to day, you're going to log into a chat queue and respond to incoming customer messages. You're going to troubleshoot orders, accounts, or basic product questions. You're going to handle multiple conversations at once during busy periods and escalate complicated issues to a specialist or supervisor. Also, track your response time and customer satisfaction scores. Experience needed. Most programs are generally entry level and train you on their systems. Also, having prior customer service experience is a plus. Having clear professional writing, especially under time pressure, being comfortable multitasking across a few conversations at once, patience with frustrated or confused customers, that's a big one. No degree required. Most training happens on the job. And of course, you must have reliable internet and a quiet place to work. And companies that typically hire for these roles, think retail, e-commerce brands, SaaS and software companies who need to support their users, and outsourced support agencies like Mod Squad, and seasonal hiring surges around the holidays across most industries. And the reason why it's such the perfect lazy position is there's no phone calls, which means no small talk and no tone to manage. And you can think through your answers before you actually respond. And scripts and macros handle a lot of the repeat questions for you. And there's no cold calling. Customers are the ones who are reaching out to you. And seasonal hiring surges create a low barrier to entry. And I rate this an 8 out of 10 because it is the one position on this list that could potentially turn into a stable, ongoing role. Now, entry-level chat roles start lower and pay climbs with your tenure, specialization, or a move into more of a team lead position. Now, something to look out for, all these programs track response time and satisfaction scores closely. So there's real performance pressure here, even without a single phone call. So you need to be somebody that is organized, structured, and you need to be able to work independently. I'll go ahead and throw up some customer service chat support pay averages from Glassdoor here on the screen for you. And if you're looking for even more online job opportunities, make sure you check out my video up here where I go through 5 boring online jobs that actually pay really well. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.